All right, let's shift our monitors back to Capitol Hill now. That address from President Trump last night lasting a grand total of 1 hour and 40 minutes. It was the longest joint session in modern day history, taking the top spot from former President Bill Clinton at 89 minutes. That was back in 2000. And the president touched on a number of topics, including immigration and those sweeping tariffs, and even took a few moments to tout his accomplishments over the last 6 weeks. Take a listen.
Over the past 6 weeks, I have signed nearly 100 executive orders and taken more than 400 executive actions, a record to restore common sense, safety, optimism, and wealth all across our wonderful land. The people elected me to do the job, and I'm doing it. In fact, it has been stated by many that the first month of our presidency, it's our presidency, is the most successful in the history of our nation.
All right, let's go live to the White House now, where CBS News reporter Olivia Rinaldi is standing by. Olivia, some of the headlines out this morning defining that moment as divisive. What was the message and tone from the president?
Well, it was certainly one yesterday of touting his administration's accomplishments while also talking about some of those lightning rod issues for Republicans. You heard the president talking about the anti-trans culture war, issues like DEI, certainly highlighting immigration and his administration's efforts through executive orders to curb people coming across the border. So certainly was a bit of a victory lap just 43 days in from the president talking about what his administration has accomplished. Something that also caught my attention was when he spoke about the CHIPS Act. Now, Liz, this is an bipartisan act that was highly popular, passed in 2022. And what it did was it boosted U.S. semiconductor manufacturing and chip making in the U.S. One, for economic reasons and creating jobs, but two, for national security purposes. Reminder, we rely a lot on Taiwan and other countries for not only the critical minerals to make these chips, but also to develop them and create them themselves before sending them over here. So this was a highly popular, bipartisan piece of legislation that Trump said yesterday he'd like to see it repealed. Also turned around to Speaker Johnson behind him and said not only should he repeal it, but he should use the money from it to pay down the debt from the U.S. that the U.S. is in. So quite notable there that even him talking and taking this victory lap about what his administration has done, also by attacking bipartisan measures that have been very popular from the previous Congress.
And now another big topic the president addressed last night were those tariffs, and we're learning that the president actually spoke with heads of automakers before that address. What more do we know about that?
Yeah, we know he spoke with the heads of Stellantis, Ford, and GM yesterday ahead of that speech. Now, all three of those companies saw their stocks tumble yesterday on the tariff news. Of course, that 25% of tariffs that went into effect on China, or on Canada rather, and Mexico will certainly have an impact on these auto dealers. They know that. Trump spoke with them yesterday. Stellantis specifically said that these tariffs put them at a significant disadvantage against Korean, Japanese, and European automakers. And of course, the car industry is an industry that Trump wooed when he was running for office for this third time. He spent a lot of time, I spent a lot of time with him in Wisconsin and Michigan talking with these auto workers about what their future would look like under a Trump administration. Now they're seeing higher prices to create these cars in the U.S. Certainly a conversation he had with them yesterday, some conversation he's probably going to keep having to have with them as these tariffs remain in place.
And any moment now, we're expecting to hear from the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt in a room just next to you right now. What do you expect the focus of that briefing to be today?
Well, Liz, the focus of that briefing is going to be tariffs, and more tariffs. That will certainly be the topic of conversation today. We know Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said there will be some type of announcement on tariffs. He said that a short while ago on Bloomberg. I'm sure there will be a question about what is that announcement? What will she be saying? What will the president be saying about these tariffs? But what does he need to see from Canada to get these tariffs off of Americans? We've heard from the administration they want to see some action on fentanyl. Well, what does that actually look like? And how much action until these tariffs get taken off? So all sorts of questions that need to be asked specifically about that. I'm sure there will be some recap of the speech last night from President Trump. He has no public events on the schedule today, so we're not expecting to see him, but we will hear from Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, who will certainly be asked a lot of questions about the economic state of Americans currently.
All right, we'll be watching. CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Thank you so much, Olivia.